Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. Got another Master Duel video for you. So I thought today we could take a look at the top decks from the latest Duelist Cup that was held from the 18th to the 30th of September. So as always, yep, it's the same kind of Duelist Cup. This was the one where, you know, people can qualify for Worlds and all that fun stuff. We're here on Road of the King taking a look at it. Not only do we get a nice little info breakdown with the pie chart and the list here, but one thing that I think is really cool about this particular source here is that not only can we look at the deck list, but you can actually do so by going directly to that person's Twitter feed, which can offer, I think, so much more than a lot of other sites who just kind of like grab the list and then throw the image up and don't do anything else with it, right? Because now if you find a particular list or Duelist interesting, you have a way to, you know, potentially see more statistics, right? And on top of that, have a way to directly support those Duelists. And I think that's always one of the best ways to do that. If you're following, you know, a particular deck or Duelist you like, follow the people who are directly playing it. That way you'll get like live updates about the deck or their experiences from them directly. Again, I love this. I wish I had been doing this to look at decks more often. But yeah, we're going to take a look at the top 100 lists. And on the website itself, it does show the top 10 lists. I think what I'm going to do is then I'll kind of go through the list of top 100. If there's anything that kind of stands out to me, we'll click on it and take a look at some of those lists. I'm also going to leave a link to this page in the description below, so that way if there is a list you wanted to see that I didn't click on, you can go ahead and check it out for yourself there. So yeah, the rank first player is invited to Master Duel World Championship 2025, while the rest of the top 100 players earn season points. It is true from the previous Duelist Cups as well. I guess this is as good a time as any to throw out the caveat that I always do around Duelist Cup season, that like, I don't want to, so I've been a pretty vocal not fan of the Duelist Cup method of qualification for quite some time, but I don't want to like try to sound like I'm trying to take away from the people who did qualify. You know, that's definitely far from my intention. The Duelist Cup is highly skill intensive, and yes, definitely people who qualify are more than deserving of the world slots. I just personally wish that there was another way to qualify, because my kind of issue with this being the only way to qualify for Worlds is that it unfortunately ends up excluding a lot of players who are not able to compete for 72 hours straight for various circumstances, right? Like I've got a job, y'all. I've got IRL responsibilities. I don't have the luxury of being able to set aside 72 hours to just play Master Duel, right? So in a way, it doesn't even really, like, it's not even that fair of an assessment because it only is, like, people who can qualify based on how much time they can spend. And again, of course, the skill once they actually get to competing, right? But the prerequisite here is, do you have 72 hours to spend playing one video game? And would you believe the majority of people have to answer no to that question? I also think it's not great for health reasons. It was kind of scary watching people tweet out like, oh yeah, you know, the hardest part of the Duelist Cup is getting enough sleep. And it's like, that shouldn't be the hardest part of playing a trading card game. And as I mentioned before, there have been other tournaments. Was it Grand Blue? There have been other games where like they had similar like competition formats that they had to discontinue because competitors end up hospitalized for, you know, would you believe that playing a video game for a whole weekend straight is not healthy? So anyway, that's kind of my major grievances of the Duelist Cup. Again, do not want to take away anything from the people who qualified. That's not at all my intention, or did well or got top 100. It is very skill intensive, and I'm not trying to say that it's not. So just want to, again, clarify that. But anyway, now let's actually talk about the top 100 breakdown here. So I love this little pie chart here. I think this is also like decently representative of like the format as a whole, right? In terms of deck's power level. Another thing to note about Duelist Cup is that you can't one-to-one compare it to Master Duel Ranked Ladder. Master Duel, or Duelist Cup rather, always brings out, like, well, for one, because you're trying to play so many games in such a short period of time, right? it is going to incentivize different styles of decks. Like, for example, one of the big kind of new decks we saw here that had never been played, you know, to my knowledge, had never topped in a Master Duel tournament or done well in, or like, you know, I'd never seen it in Master Ranked Ladder myself or heard people ever talk about it, was the Aeroshark FTK. Is Aeroshark FTK a huge threat to the current meta? No, I don't think so. Is it annoying and creates non-game? Sure. But that is an example of something that you will really only see in the Duelist Cup, and one of many reasons of why Duelist Cup results are not always directly reflective of Master Duel Ranked Ladder, right? But I still think that power level wise, this is a pretty decent representation of the current Master Duel meta. I mean, Yubel and Fire King Snake I don't see quite as much played in Ranked Ladder, but again, when you're trying to climb as high as you can in as short amount of time as you can, within, rather, not in as short amount of time as you can, but within a time period, rather, then yeah, you're going to skew towards what are perceived to be the best decks of the format, which I would agree. I think Yubel and Fire King Snake Eye are two of the best decks of the format. Yubel saw a little bit more play, which makes sense to me. That's pretty true of Master Duel Ranked Ladder as well, actually. And I think that Yubel actually probably is just a stronger deck. I think at this point that we can definitely say that Yubel is actually just stronger than Fire King Snake Eye. So for the full breakdown here, we had 22 Yubel decks in the top 100, 17 pure, 5 on the Ibli variant. So Ibli, of course, just got banned, right? But as I mentioned in the ban list video, like, I don't really think the Ibli variant was the optimal way to play Yubel. That said, Ibli being a game that creates non-game, or a card that creates non-games, rather, against quite a few decks, honestly, is, it's still, I think, worth hitting, honestly. 18 Fire King, really they were all Fire King Snake Eye, 16 of which were just regular Fire King Snake Eye, 1 Splash Taurus, 1 Splash Cashier. I think we accidentally clicked on the one that Splash Cashier, funnily enough. 6 Voiceless Voice, 5.5 tier limit? Oh, 0.5 because the person used 2 different decks, one of which was tier limit. Got it, yeah. So 3.5 tier limit, 1 Grass Horse Snake Eye tier limit, 1 Grass Horse tier limit. So are the Grass Horse tier limits, let's see, where are they? Because I want to see which of these builds like are, yeah, just like regular 40 card builds, and then it's the grass builds I assume that are the yeah, here we go, FTK. Oh, so FTK, they grouped the FTK under a whole different thing. And I think this is accurate, right? Like, Lightsworn FTK and Tier Limits are definitely like 2 different decks, right? Even though the Lightsworn FTK does play Tier Limit as an engine. I point this out specifically because I have seen a surprising amount of people, all of which TCG players, calling for Kit Kolos's ban, like following the Pearl Rhino ban. And first of all, it's a bit of a head scratcher because I'm like, where were you all, like, before this ban was announced? Like, I feel like if you truly believed Kit Kolos should have been banned in Master Duel, you'd be saying it, like, up till this point, not just as a reaction to Pearl Rhino getting banned. Like, I don't know, I gotta be real, I think this all comes down to TCG ban list mentality of, like, no, we gotta hit the deck so that it sees less play. And I think that is, in my opinion, bad ban list philosophy. I much prefer Master Duel ban list philosophy, where we curate a deck to keep it both interesting and at an appropriate power level, which is where Tier Limits is at. Like, again, there's the argument of, like, well, if Kit Kolos wasn't banned, we could unban a million cards, and it's like, the quantity of cards alone is not an indicator of how good or bad a list is, right? You have to actually look at the cards that are hit themselves and the resulting meta / deck of that particular archetype. And, you know, because, like, look at the TCG. You know, people say, like, oh, Tier Limits is fine in the TCG without Kit Kolos, but it doesn't do anything. Like, the builds don't do well in tournaments, and they're not interesting. But in Master Duel, Tier Limits are in builds, you know, even the 40 card ones, which are not, you know, the problem here at all, are interesting. They are fairly powerful, but they're still on par with the rest of the meta, right? And if you ban Kit Kolos just to hit 1 FTK, when really we could hit cards that enable the FTK, then, like, you're hurting Tier Limit as a whole for, like, literally no reason. It's the funny thing is it's exclusively TCG players too, because I see a lot of people who I know who really only play Master Duel be like, oh, the Pearl Rhino ban's a little weird. I didn't think that needed to happen. No mention of Kiklos being banned, but TCG players freak out when they see a difference that's not on their list and like, no, ban it, ban it, ban it. I don't know. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm genuinely not trying to offend anybody. I just really don't have a high opinion of that ban list philosophy and that mentality of this deck is seeing play, so it needs to get hit, so it sees less play. It's like, no, bad. Anyway, so yeah, Lightsworn FTK definitely its own thing. Metabeat, for those who are wondering what Metabeat is, that's what, like, in the OCG they kind of call stun. So that's more of what that is. Yeah, Grass Branded, we had a decent bit of. Runic, Rescue Ace, Cash Snake Eye. I was surprised to see even 2. We're not going to see that moving forward at all. Mathmech Ignister, Bestial Centurion. Okay, yeah, so let's go ahead and start taking a look at the lists themselves here. We'll start looking at some of these individual links, but I just first want to look at the top 10. So, Ibli Yubel actually ended up being one of the winning lists, despite being in the very much minority of Yubel lists. And it's really easy to say, well, like, oh, well, the Ibli version got first place, so clearly it's the best version. No, I still don't think that. Just because a deck gets, like, first place, like, by that mentality, you know, you look at, like, previous rating duels, right? We can actually do that here on Road to the King, right? If you go to, like, previous rating duels, like last season, for season 32, one of the top 10 decks was Pure Valence, right? That doesn't mean Pure Valence is one of the best decks of the format. It just means that person did well with Pure Valence. And I think to a degree that's also true of Ibli Yubel. I still think that Ibli Yubel was not the best way to play the deck, but you know, that said, obviously Yubel is still the best deck in general in the format. So it's pretty clear to see why someone could get first with it. And Ibli is still a pretty, you know, dangerous card that creates non-games. I'm still not advocating for it to be, like, not be banned or something. I feel the need to point that out because, like, in my ban list video, I said, stun isn't really that bad. It's not like you lose if you go second. And a lot of people took that as me defending stun, even though I said multiple times I don't like stun and I'm not defending it. It's weird. It feels like a lot of the time if you say anything other than, like, oh, this thing is evil and needs to be set on fire and never see again, then people will be like, oh, so you're defending it. And it's like, huh? No? What are you talking about? So, Ibli, again, I will specify for everyone in the comments who's furiously typing, I don't think it was that bad, but I also am not sad to have seen it banned. So, that's my stance on it. 44 cards makes sense, though, for a build like this, when you're on the Psyframe and the Chaos Summoning Beast and the Ibli. It's a lot of cards here you don't necessarily want to draw, and then the maps to boost up that consistency. Yeah, makes sense. Got a Pure Yubel build here. Also on the Pure Beast map. A lot of people on that map, wow. I noticed that this person's only on 1 Dark Beckoning Beast, and this person was only playing 2. Makes the Beckoning Beast semi-limit that much more painful for Sprite players, because, like, really, y'all, Yubel did not even need the 3rd Beckoning Beast. You're just taking it from Sprite, but okay. Fire King Snake Eye, as well as Tear Lament. This person played 2 different decks, right? And as we can see, the Tear Lament build that they use here is far from any problematic FTK. It's just regular old Tear Lament, which, like, again, I don't think it's controversial to say that this deck is not a problem in Master Duel, and as a result, Kiklos does not need to get hit. I mean, there are people who say, like, yeah, hit Fairy Tail Snow instead. I personally don't think Fairy Tail Snow needs a ban. I think it could use a limit, but not a ban. But I don't really feel strongly about it. If it got banned, I wouldn't be upset. So, you know, that's kind of my stance on that. For Fire King Snake Eye, maxing out on the Drolls is pretty interesting, but also makes sense. It's a pretty good card. I feel like Fire King Snake Eye can... I mean, not a lot of the Fire King lines, but the Snake Eye stuff can play decently well through a Droll. After, you know, the Ash and Poplar searches, of course. I'm trying to remember from when I played, like, when I was grinding Pure Snake Eye in the Duelist Cup, or the Challenger Cups, rather. How much Droll affected me. I feel like it wasn't that much. But I could be misremembering. Anyway. Another Ibli Yubel. So I guess I will say 5 Ibli Yubel, 2 of them in the top 10. Yeah, I mean, I guess this is another case where I think that, like, the Duelist Cup specific meta is kind of also propelling Ibli. Because, like, when you're playing against so many Yubel mirrors, like, I guess it does make sense that the one with access to Ibli would kind of edge out some of the other ones a lot of the time. Also, again, only on 2 Dark Beckoning Beasts. Very, very glad for that semi-limit. Thanks, Konami. Love it. Alright, this one's on 3. This is also a pure, pretty standard. This is a very standard Yubel build. This looks like the kind of Yubel build that I would make, honestly, even not playing the Gammas. Although I do actually like Gamma quite a bit in Yubel. But, yeah, pretty nice build there. More Snake Eye Fire King. No Joels in this one. This one's on the double Ponix, which on Patreon, we actually just recently looked at the top 10 rating duel decks from season 33, and there was a lot of Fire King Snake Eye with double Ponix in that one. So I think especially with the popular limit, we'll see the 2 Ponix become kind of standard in Fire King Snake Eye. I wouldn't be surprised. Another very standard tier limit deck here. Not Lightsworn FTK. Another standard tier limit deck. Not Lightsworn FTK. I think the Pearl Rhino band, I guess I never really followed up on this. I think the Pearl Rhino band was more of a hit to pile decks like the Lightsworn FTK that use tier as an engine, because the idea is that then you can't mill the Rainbow Bridge and then search and go into your tier engine, right? I guess this does also make Trivikarma worse in tier limit, but Trivikarma searches so much besides Pearl Rhino that you probably just play it anyway. Like, being able to search solely Extreme Crime, like whatever spell trap you need, I think is still decently valuable. Grief even, you know, so. Another Snake Eye Fire King on the... Oh, that's Poplar, not Ponix. Never mind. I was going to say double Ponix. Triple Orcanix here. Okay, so those are the top 10, but I also wanted to... I'm not going to click every single one of these, but I did want to try to look at some decks that kind of stood out to me. Like the Horus Snake Eye Fire King build. Oh, there's Nish on that. Hell yeah. Okay. Interesting, because I've seen this before. I've seen this on ladder, like people playing Horus. 3 Nibiru. Wow, that's awesome. Only the 1 Kingstark, but I guess that makes sense. And then we just add Zombie Vamp to the extra deck. Heatsoul was number 90 until a certain point, and Nib was TTT or Droll. I see. Interesting. Okay. See, this is, again, like, I value this so much more highly than a website that just grabs the list and throws the image up and does nothing else to, like, try to engage with or interact with the community, right? Because then you just get this insight directly from the people who played the deck. Oh, 11th place. Got so close. God damn. But, oops. Yeah, so this was the... Oh, no, this is just a random tier limit build. I thought it was the Snake Eye Kashira build there. Tri-Sprite I'm definitely interested in checking out here. The Nimble manga, that's so good. Ah, rip, the Beckoning Beast and the... I really do think the Beckoning Beast and opening was targeted at Sprite. I kind of said that a little bit in maybe the ban list video. I can't remember if it was the Patreon video. One of the two, I was like talking about how it was a secret Sprite hit, and I was like, nah, that might be a bit conspiracy brained, but like Sprite did well enough to earn a decent sized slot on the pie chart. And again, we saw in the past that Konami was willing to limit Nimble Beaver to get people to move on to new decks. Because, like, let's be real. Like, a lot of the time, Konami's incentive for hitting decks is to get you to play the new deck, to spend gems or read money on the newest cards. And when Nimble Beaver got limited to 1, it was pretty clear that the reason for that was Konami saying, like, okay, stop playing Sprite cards, you all need to go buy new cards now. And I kind of feel like that's one of the reasons why they targeted Beckoning Beast and opening, especially, again, with so many Yubel lists not on 3 Beckoning Beast. I feel like that's a pretty clear indication from Konami that they can be like, oh, well, it's kind of like 2 birds, 1 stone. We need to hit Yubel anyway, because people are, you know, it's the best deck. But also, people are still playing Sprite cards. They really need to be buying new stuff. Sprite doesn't have any more support coming out, so there's no sense in trying to sell it. So let's hit these cards that hit Sprite as well. I'm not unconvinced that that's part of the reasoning there. But anyway, Tri-Sprite, very cool to see. Very cool to see. I'm not really that interested in voiceless, but I know some people are. So we'll look at one of the voiceless lists here. It seems fairly standard from what I can tell, both the main and the extra deck. Kind of what you would expect to see. Snake Eye Spiral. Ooh. What we got here? Oh, can I make the image a little bigger? I guess not. But, I've seen lists like this before. Yeah, the Snake Eye Spiral list, meaning the anti-spell fragrance. That's funny. Meta beat, again, just to kind of Whoa. That was weird. That brought up the image directly here. But, yep, just to show you that this is a... Wait, this name looks familiar. I feel like I've played this person on ladder before. Or maybe I've just seen their name around because they're a skilled duelist. But, I don't mean that unironically. I know that probably looked like I was throwing shade because they're playing stun. Listen, I know a lot of people really don't think of stun as particularly skillful, but, like, there is a degree of skill required to playing every game of Yu-Gi-Oh!, including stun. We should still respect players who do well, even if it's with a deck we don't like. The kind of shit I see some of y'all, and I'm not just talking about y'all as Yu-Gi-Oh! Players in general, but even in my own comment section, the kind of shit I see people say about some players is, like, really not okay. Like, I guess the comments I'm referencing are more on, like, the subreddit and stuff, but people calling stun players, like, stuff like subhuman, like, or much worse ways of saying that are, like, are you guys okay? Like, you know this is a trading card game, right? Like, I feel that way with a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Related arguments. It's like, it's best to take a step back sometimes and be like, y'all, this is a card game. Let's breathe. So, I will definitely, of course, offer a congrats to stun players, like, who did well in the tournament. They definitely deserve it. And, yeah, anyway. So, moving on from that, I see Jadeo Yu-Gi-Oh! Here. Hell yeah. Who, of course, also was in the recent Worlds event as well. Congrats, congrats. The Yubel list there. Runic. I imagine this is Runic stun, right? Yep, it's Runic stun. I kind of figured. Okay. Another Tri-Brigade sprite. Waiting. Okay, here we go. Also using the Beckoning Beast package, looks like. This one only on 2 gates. This makes me want to try... It's been actually a long time since I've played Tri-Brigade Sprite. This does actually kind of make me want to play it again. Hey, Flaunderies made it. Let's look at the flu list. It's pretty standard stuff. But again, cool to see a list like... or a deck like Flu. Making it. A deck that's pretty, like, rogue. Well, we should look at one of the FTK decks here. Yeah, so this was the Arrow Shark FTK deck, which again, like, I've seen exclusively TCG players call for Kickless ban for this deck existing, and it's like, huh? No? Because, like, there are definitely other factors at play here. One, the pile deck element, which, I mean, I, of course, still love pile decks, so, but, yeah, the banning of Pearl Rhino here does make milling. I guess I thought I guess this deck in particular doesn't play the Rainbow Bridge, but a lot of non-FTK tier pile decks do. But this does still make the Trivikarma not the best mill. It only grabs Grief in this case, or I guess Soliek. But yeah, I mean, you could limit Selene, and that would also solve this FTK. That also wouldn't hurt pretty much any deck that uses Selene. Maybe Endymion runs like 2, but I don't think you need more than 1 for Endymion combo lines. Let's be real, we could also just hit Arrow Shark. Like, this card literally has never done anything in Yu-Gi-Oh! At all, as far as I know, outside of this FTK. Like, I was playing when Arrow Shark first came out. It's not like this card even has, like, history as a meta-relevant card. So, like, why not just hit Arrow Shark? And then, this to me is, again, the same when people were like, we need to ban Isolde to stop Exodia from FTKing people. And it's like, why is the mentality here not to ban Exodia, the card that is FTKing people? Like, you know, because if we ban Isolde, now it can't be used for cool warrior pile decks like Infernoble, which are not, like, problematic in the meta, right? But no, I guess, you know, fuck all those other cool, interesting decks. Nostalgia. But here there's, like, not even nostalgia. I don't understand, like, why you would target Kiklos after the clear issue here. But anyway, oh, Cashier Snake Eye. I want to see this because this is pure, right? Oh, but they don't have the list. I see. Not in that post anyway. There's like 3 different decks here. Rescue Ace. We haven't seen a Rescue Ace list yet, so we get to check one of those out. I think there was one like 12th up above too. Meta Beat, which is gonna of course stun. And then Super Heavy Samurai as well. A pure Super Heavy Samurai deck, not even using it as an engine. That's cool. Horse Monodium I definitely wanted to check out. Because I do like Monodium, and I've not... Wow, that's a very... Because I was wondering how much of a Horus engine they were going to be playing. It's literally just 2 Imseti and 1 Kingsark. That is a tiny, tiny package. Oh, they're also playing Spellcard Monster Reborn. That's very interesting. Yeah, the Pearl Rhino ban is actually an incidental Monadium hit as well, which is a little bit unfortunate. From what I recall, I think this stops Calarium from being a 1-card combo, full combo. Like, I'm pretty sure you could still make plays off that, right? Because, like, you would Calarium for Rim to add and then special Meek, for Trisukta to bring back Meek to Amritera, and then you would go for Pearl Rhino to add Visas. But you could still, like, add something else and then go into... Like, yeah, it just wouldn't be full combo anymore. But you would still have a line with Calarium and nothing else. Okay. Yeah, an unfortunate stray of the Pearl Rhino ban. Pearl Rhino ban, I just don't think it needed to happen. Again, we could have easily just, like, limited Celine or just, like, banned Arrow Shark. No reason to hit cool, interesting decks when we could just hit the uninteresting, relatively uninteresting FTK. Another Tri-Sprite list. Tri-Sprite's so popular. I gotta try Tri-Sprite again. But I think I would do it like in a post-ban list. Oh, interesting. There's a couple of U-Bell sprites here. I want to look at both of these. Because this is more of like what I thought when I saw Sprite in the pie chart. Oh, that's cool. It's like actually playing more of the U-Bell line. Excuse me. It's got Cross Sheep and multiple Phantoms and Samsara and Grave Squirmer. That's actually true of this list too. Wow, look at that. So cool. I love sprites so much. Do you, Lex? Definitely want to see one of the Adagnister lists for sure. This is one of those decks where, like, I've said this for so long now. And I think the fact that, like, we always see it crop up in Duelist Cup top 100s or, like, in Rating Duel top 10s is indicative of this, that if everyone just, like, knew how to play this deck, if we all had I Wish's brain downloaded into ours, like, this would be a top tier deck. This would be, like, at least a tier 3, if not tier 2 deck. Ignister is just one of those decks that, again, it always does well. The only thing that holds it back is the time it takes, the dedication it takes to learn, like, because there's so many different combo lines. That's the thing. Ignister can play through, like, almost any hand trap, but you have to know a specific combo line in order to do it. So this deck requires a lot of studying and just knowledge about how this specific deck plays in order to pilot it very well. But it is a very good deck. Yeah, I wanted to see the Pearly list, because this was the only one. I'm actually very surprised that this was the only Pearly list in top 10. I feel like there should have been more Pearly and Rescue Ace. But actually at the same time, again, I think this is kind of indicative to the Duelist Cup format. Like, I know you're not incentivized to necessarily speed run your games, but at the same time, Pearly and Rescue Ace are kind of these, like, relatively, compared to other decks, slow strategy that also doesn't, like, threaten... Like, you know, that's the thing, right? When you go up against an X-Pearly Noir or a Turbulent Set 4, it's like, yeah, that's a pain to play through, but for me personally, when playing pretty much any deck, I don't feel like the game is lost at that point. To the same degree as if, like, like, U-Bell or Fire King Snake Eye did their full turn 1 combo, right? Like, the Pearly / Rescue Ace end board feels like you can play through it a lot more than certain other ones, which I think is why certain decks are either favored or unfavored in the Duelist Cup. Pearly being one of those, again, because we've seen on Ranked Ladder, Pearly has had the highest win rate for, like, the entire season. So the deck is obviously quite good, but it just didn't get played here. Again, I think more for the factors of the Duelist Cup than the factors of the overall metagame, right? So, but I think a lot of people will look at this top 100, see one Pearly on here, and be like, oh, the deck fell off. But you can't make that one-to-one correlation, right? There's definitely got to be, like, acknowledgement of the differences of the format there for proper evaluation, in my opinion. Grass Horus Snake Eye Tier Lament. So this was, okay, so this is more of like, this is like closer to the everything pile, just not playing like a U-Bell engine. I kind of figured that's what it would be. Oh, and then yeah, I was like, there was one more deck I really wanted to see here, and it was the Centurion deck. Looks pretty standard. It's playing the Pros. Interesting, it's playing Pros 1 Bonfire. Because I was working on my Centurion deck, and I had 2 Bonfire. I had taken out the Pros, and I was like, I kind of want to play 1 Pros 1 Bonfire, but that feels a little crazy. But this person's here doing it. That's very validating, honestly. 2 Phalanx is pretty interesting. 2 Legatia. They're playing the Artemis, and double Blazar as well. Okay, I'm definitely making note of this list. I'm eager to try out Pure Centurion again. But there we go. I think that it pretty much covers everything that I wanted to look at here for the Duelist Cup Top 100 decks. Again, I'm going to leave a link to this Road of the King page in the description below, so that if you want to check out some of the links that I didn't click on, you can go ahead and do so. So that's kind of my thoughts on the decks as well as the Duelist Cup format itself. So yeah, thanks for listening to me yap. I really do appreciate y'all who stick through to the end of the video. Like, I know I say it in the outro every time, but I want to make sure that, like, I, the person, am communicating that to you, that, like, that really does mean a lot. Like, not even just from a, like, oh, it's the best way to support the channel, YouTube lingo, you know, kind of a thing. But, like, the fact that y'all are willing to listen to me just yap about the game that I love so much, it really just does mean the world. And I feel like sometimes I don't stop and say that often enough on the YouTube videos. I say a lot on Patreon, but I need to do it more often for y'all as well. So I really do thank you all from the bottom of my heart. It really does mean a lot that you are here and watching and supporting. It's all awesome. I really appreciate you. But yeah, let's go ahead and just move on now to that outro. Hey everybody, Hexlex here. Just want to give you a huge thanks for watching all the way to the very end of the video. Believe it or not, that is actually one of the best ways that you can support the channel, is by watching the videos in their entirety. But there are many ways in which you can support the channel if you are so interested. The names that you're seeing on screen here, I gotta give an extra special thanks to, because these are people who have chosen to either become a member on YouTube, which if you're interested you can do as well via the join button next to the subscribe button down there, or have signed up over on Patreon and become members there. Link to that is going to be in the description below. Without the support that is being offered by, again, all the people that you're seeing on screen right here, I would not be able to take the time to dedicate to uploading daily YouTube videos. So thank you so very much. But there are also other ways you can support as well. Again, link to the description below. If you like my deck tracker that you'll see in a lot of my videos, the Untapped Companion, you can download that for free, and if you use my affiliate link down there, then that also goes a long way towards supporting the channel. That's, again, free. So is subscribing here on YouTube. That's also free and a huge way to support. You can also check out Twitch, once again linked in the description below. Following and subscribing over there will not only support as well, but also give you notifications of when I go live if you want to catch some of the live streams. But really, no matter how you choose to support, it all adds up, and it all definitely means the world. So thank you, each and every one of you. For now, this is Hexlex. I'm going to be signing out. But more than that, I'm hoping that you have a fantastic day.